if you look at the reviews, they all mention our
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
And it makes me a little bit scared for the day when they leave. But I mean, just because I think staff is the best thing about hospitality, it's also the most challenging thing about hospitality. It's, you're constantly dealing with HR issues and like keeping people happy and creating a great company culture. And it's very fulfilling, but also very challenging. And I think it is probably the hardest part about running a small staffed hotel.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Report. Today, we got a good friend of mine in town for podcast number 2. I got a repeat guest, and we are going to be dropping so much game. I got Soli Cayetano back in studio. What's up, Soli? How are you?
Hey, Rich. Good to be here.
Yes, it's been a little bit, and man, always good to catch up with you. So many things that you've been doing, and I remember we first connected with Bigger Pockets conference out in 2023 out here in San Diego. That was
And
the
we
first
did
time
a
we
yacht
met.
party.
We did a yacht party.
We did.
We co-hosted it.
That
Crazy.
was super fun. And the last time I was here was, I think, about a year ago, maybe more than a year ago.
Yes, it was more than a year ago. It was
And
last spring.
Just were maybe about to buy a hotel.
Yes,
I
you were
think.
about to buy a hotel, and since you have closed on a 13-room boutique hotel out in Palm Springs, California, oh my gosh, that is so cool. How's the project going?
We're officially open. So I'm really excited to watch like my past podcasts and see how I talked about the vision and the numbers and compare it to like what we're about to talk about today. So we bought it last June 2024, and then we officially opened in January of 2025. So it's been about 6 months of operating, and it's been, I don't know, it's been really cool. I mean, we just won Travel and Leisure's IT List, top 100 hotels in the world. And so there's been a lot of things that have like, it's beyond my wildest dreams, the reception of this hotel. And it's made me very excited to go buy more hotels.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive in because I feel like when you get into the hotel game, it's like I tell people all the time, I'm like, guys, like just start with a smaller deal. And the biggest mistake I see is people try to get in, they try to go take down these larger deals, and then they can't raise the capital, and they're in over their heads, and then they never end up taking action. And I'm like, just start small. My first hotel that we bought was 10-room. It was very easy to wrap your mind around.
Where was it?
It was up in Shelter Cove, Black Sands Inn,
Yeah.
up in Northern California, right on the beach, gorgeous black sand beaches, hiking trails. But it's a 10-room beachfront hotel. Bought it for 1.5 and some change from a mom and pop seller with seller financing. And it was very, very easy to wrap my mind around, got us in the game because you don't know what you don't know. And like you got in the game, and I'm sure like your perspective on the hotel game has definitely changed, which we'll talk about here. But now you're in the game, and now you have a clear understanding of like what you like and don't like. And now you can figure out what the game plan is, what the direction is for asset number 2, and then you go attack it.
Yeah, it was interesting because when we bought the hotel, I think we had a completely different vision for it as we were doing the underwriting. I think we were trying to lean into traditional Palm Springs vibes and colors and brightness. And then as we started to really live in the space, we honestly did a lot of like design build. So as we were building, we were continually iterating the design, which was super fun for the contractors. And so as we were living in the space, we were noticing as we were living there, there is a lack of, wellness hospitality in Palm Springs. However, it's 2 hours from San Diego, 2 hours from LA. And we're like, I think that we can really lean into more of like a luxury type of property. That was not the original underwriting, but as we started to work into the design and see where we could add amenities and utilize the space a little bit better, we realized that we could actually push this vision beyond what we thought we could have when we first bought it.
What are the top amenities that you guys implemented at your project?
So we have a Himalayan salt sauna.
Whoa, what does that mean?
We basically ship salt blocks from Florida.
No
They're
way.
these like big pink blocks.
Yeah.
And it's a dry sauna. It's just very Instagrammable. So we were trying to prioritize Instagrammable moments and blend that with wellness sort of amenities so that people could, I guess, fully immerse themselves in that type of experience in the hotel. So we have a cold plunge. Obviously, you need a sauna and a cold plunge. We also built a rain room. And so this was inspired by a spa in Milan that I went to go see in September of last year. Basically, you stepped into the space and these LED screens had thunder rolling in and it was dumping rain on you. And we were like, how cool would it be to, instead of an outdoor shower, have this kind of immersive rain experience? And I think that this type of like interesting amenity is really important for a lot of reasons, including like virality on social media, but also
it's Instagrammable.
It's super Instagrammable as well as press. And so like we just had an LA Times article come out that was it was a things to do in Palm Springs when it's 111 degrees. And we were front of the cover, like rain shower at Terra Palm Springs. So I think those were the types of memorable moments that we were trying to create. It's a small area, 13 rooms, but we also tried to program amenities into each of the rooms. So we have rooms that have private cold plunges. We have private outdoor bathtubs. We have indoor soaking tubs. We have fire pits. So we really did the most with the space
Sure.
that we could.
So yeah, I talk about it. So 13 rooms, and how do you fit all these amenities to each room? Is it like a little backyard patio space?
Yeah. So we
Wow.
8 of our rooms are suites,
Okay.
and the suites have either an outsized like bathroom that has a soaking tub, or it has an outsized patio that has spaces. So we also built there was like basically a concrete pad that we built, new construction, a lobby, and a massage room. And it's probably like, I don't know, 150, 200 square feet. It's small, but that one room does, like, we just 6 months in did $45,000 of revenue
Mm,
at 60% profit
I love
margins.
it.
So I think that like trying to fit in, it's a lot of people think that like spas and that type of thing are just amenities that don't make you money, but we really tried to pack every little space with another way to make money from our guests that weren't just base room revenue.
Totally. And then, do you guys charge an amenity fee,
We do a resort fee,
resort fee?
very
What do you
standard.
guys charge for that?
I believe it's
Okay.
$42, something like that, like 40-ish
Yeah.
dollars.
And that's a simple thing that, a lot of hotels, depending on market, could be the norm. And so if you just implement a couple amenities like you guys have, you can simply charge an amenity fee or a resort fee for those things. And you also have a pool and a jacuzzi, right?
We do, we do.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it's very, very common in Palm Springs, and they'll say we're charging for Wi-Fi, parking, and our pool. I think a lot of people get a little bit upset about that, but we actually truly do have all of those
You
amenities,
do,
and
yeah.
we have bikes so they can go bike around town. So we offer a lot for our resort fee that a lot of hotels don't in the area.
Yeah. One thing that stuck out is you mentioned your direct booking percentage is very high. Is it 90 something percent?
It's like 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you guys do that?
A combination of ads. So we implemented ads, let's see, must have been like late March. And we're getting some really high return on ad spend. I think we've averaged out to about 15%,
Wow.
which is really major. I think that all hotels should be utilizing ad spend. I come from the world of, education and content creation. And so we do a lot with like meta ads as content creators, as you know. And so I did a lot of research, talking to a lot of different hotel operators on like Meta versus Google PPC. And everyone had basically told me, if you want the best bang for your buck, go Google PPC and Performance Max. And so we basically hired a firm to run our ads for us. And the response has been like overwhelming. We've seen tons of bookings driven from ads, as well as like we have an area for events and like weddings, and that's a big area where you can make a bunch of revenue from event fees that wasn't originally underwritten in our deal. And we send a lot of people to those forms through ads
I
too.
love that. I had Seth and Tori Bull on from Bull
Oh
Farm
yeah,
Treehouse
uh-huh,
a few weeks back, and
cool.
they're running 100% direct booking. They're not on any of the
Wow.
OTAs and driving 93% year-round occupancy
Oh
with
my
a
gosh.
$900 ADRs, which is insane.
Do they do ads or
Um,
no?
I don't think they do ads, but they have a really amazing social media presence, and they have very loyal guests, and they have a lot of influencers that love staying there at their properties because obviously it's a lot of viral content that goes with it. So always very impressed when I hear people have such a high direct booking percentage. Are you guys on the other OTAs like Expedia, Hotels.com, Booking.com as well?
We are. I just don't think that we see as much traction. And a part of me kind of believes that our website has a premium experience. And so when you're on there, we intentionally branded it to be very mysterious and sensual. Like you won't see faces, you don't see people, you see the whisper of a hand, you see a foot walking. And so you're kind of drawn into like, what is this place? It looks very luxurious. I think you don't get the same vibes from something like Airbnb.
What's the name of your property's Instagram? I'm gonna look it up while we talk.
Terra Palm Springs.
And how do you spell the handle?
Terra, and
Uh-huh.
then Palm Springs.
Easy.
Yeah.
I've seen like some stuff on your social in terms of like your renovation, and I was kind of following the journey as you guys
Uh-huh.
repositioned it. And it looked really good. I haven't seen like the finished product though. So I'm looking right now. It looks gorgeous. 13 rooms, Himalayan salt sauna, cold plunge, rain room, featured in Forbes, Vogue,
We were we were
what's that
actually
one?
featured in Vogue and Forbes prior to opening on their most anticipated hotels to open in 2025. And so that's another reason like we spent a lot of money, invested a lot of money in PR early on. And I think that was one area where people were like, oh, like what is the direct return of PR? And now we can measure that because we have the back end analytics to track bookings are driven through
And
the
and
PR
and can
articles.
you guys put like Forbes and stuff like featured in Forbes on your direct booking site?
You're not supposed to unless
Yeah.
you license their
I
logo, and
see
it's
people, all sorts of people do it.
it's
Not with the hotel
really
game necessarily, but
expensive.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you might get your wrist slapped for
Got
that.
it.
We don't. But we invest a lot into PR early on, and then we also have done social media. We're just growing our social media page, but like for example, we just did a giveaway with June Shine, the hard kombucha brand. And it got us like 5,000 followers on TikTok. It drove bookings from TikTok. It got us 1,000 followers on Instagram. And so especially like I got this from a friend who was like, we just run giveaways and it's our low season right now where it's 110 degrees in Palm Springs. And so we're like, yeah, like let's do all the giveaways possible because people are staying in August with low occupancy, but we're pushing all of these bookings and
So
followers.
what were the results of this recent giveaway you did?
5,000 followers on TikTok. Honestly,
Wow.
it shocked me. I opened it up
Yeah.
and I was like, how do we have we had no followers on
Sure.
TikTok, and then we had 5,000. And then we had about maybe 1,500 followers on Instagram that came directly from this giveaway. And the result was like we had to give away 2 nights in a room at our hotel during low season.
Easy, yeah.
So yeah, I was like, easy
You're gonna have the
day.
vacancy anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think we're going to continue with this giveaway model because it's really good for brand awareness.
Mhm.
We'll see how sticky these people are. But like that one was from people mostly in LA. And so we're really targeting heavy, like it's a drivable destination, LA, San Diego.
So how did that giveaway work? Was that something that you let an influencer give away on their audience, or how did that one work?
So it was the company Juneshine hired a event production company, which is 2 girls, to host this giveaway with the 3 of us. I think their name is like Fuzz and Fuzz.
Okay.
You can find
And
it
I'm
on our
actually, it's
page.
funny that you mentioned Fuzz and Fuzz.
Oh, do you know them?
I'm looking at a video right now on your Instagram feed, June 22nd, and it's Fuzz and Fuzz put it out. They collabed with you, and it said, giveaway closed. Congrats to the winner. It was Stephanie Rose, something like that. You guys tagged her right here. But it says, guys, we're partnering with June Shine and Tara to give away a 2-night stay at our new favorite LA escape, Terra Palm Springs, and a year's supply of June Shine non-alcoholic
Yeah.
kombucha. I love it. That's cool.
So
That's so cool.
we did
And
this
it got a
with
lot of engagement.
it
105
did.
shares, 1,800 comments.
So it's actually
Damn.
way more engagement on
On
TikTok.
TikTok, got it.
Yeah, because that one
Even
just
some
blew
people I
up.
know are commenting.
So we did this with Higher Dose as well. Higher Dose is a red light company, and we do in-room PEMF mats and red light therapy masks. And so they came to our property, and we did it at a giveaway, which was really we wanted emails. So emails from people in LA who we can then target for bookings. So we did that in, I don't know if it was like April or May, but we did that one as well. And so depending on what your flow is, it could be to social media, it could be to acquire emails and then retarget those emails with ads or offers or something to get them into your sphere. So that one was pretty successful too.
I love that. I want to talk a high level about kind of like the capital stack and some of the numbers. Ballpark, what did you buy the hotel for?
2.75.
And how did you do the lending on the debt? There was a seller financing component?
No,
No.
syndication.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then did you guys pair that with a loan, like a bank loan?
We did, and it
Got
was
it.
a hard money loan.
It was a hard money
So,
loan, bridge loan. Okay, got it.
yeah. The reason why is because it was a non-operating hotel, so
Yeah.
it was
We
empty.
use a lot of bridge loans for our stuff.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
expensive.
well, you're buying underperforming, and so obviously seller financing opportunities we love, but it's seller financing is not always available. And so if you get a good deal on the table, often if you're getting like a really good deal, like the seller wants to get whatever proceeds they're going to get. They're not willing to seller finance it. They're in a financial pinch, which is why you're getting a good deal. And then the hotel's underperforming. So we use bridge all the time. We've bought one of our deals directly from our bridge lender. And so we're a big fan of it. Obviously you got to use it the right way. You got to, be responsible with it, be in, be out with your reno. But, I'm not afraid to use bridge loans at all.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
12%. I think it shook out to like 60 or 65% LTV on the bridge loan.
And 65% of your renovation.
It was a small portion of our renovation.
Got it,
And
okay.
so We ended up raising about $2.5 million for the renovation, and like obviously like holding costs, like reserves. And so I think the renovation ended up being about $1.2 million.
Okay. I love it. So purchase price 2.2,
Mhm.
renovation
2.75.
2.75, put
Yeah.
1.2 in. So
Yeah.
you're all in for about 3.9 and some
Something like
change.
that.
Okay. And what's the hold period on this, target hold period? 7 years.
7 years.
Okay. And what do you think it's gonna be worth in 7 years?
About 7.5 is what we projected. But again, when we did this initial projection, we were so conservative. So we were like, we don't know how much is going to come in from resort fees, massages. Like we didn't know what was F&B, so we had no alcohol or F&B inside of our projections. We had no mini bar sales, and so we've actually made a lot of money from all of those different profit centers that we didn't originally have inside our underwriting, as well as a more luxury position. So we so far in the first 6 months have outperformed our initial projections by like 25%
I
or
love
so,
that.
which
That's
is great.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
And it was kind of from the perspective of like, this was our first hotel. Like, obviously, we bought a lot of rental properties before, but we didn't want to put all these rosy expectations and like, we're going to make, I don't know, $150,000 from this single spa room when we had no precedent to base it
Mhm.
off of. And so now that we have some precedent, I think we can more accurately underwrite these deals. But
Mm,
I'm always a fan of like, let's under promise and over deliver.
for
And
sure.
we just sent out our Q2 update
I love
yesterday.
that. I love
I know
that.
it felt so good to be like, we beat our projections.
Yeah, good for you. That's amazing. And I know that you raised money prior to build your portfolio of single family properties, midterm rentals, etc. And then this was your first time raising capital for like a commercial deal. What was the biggest change for you?
I think that it's a different asset class. That and it's a longer hold period. And so for single families, for burrs, for flips, I did a lot of them. And it was like 12 months, you're in, you're out. Sometimes you get paid back early. A lot of the times, most of the time was debt. And so it doesn't matter if we fail, the house burns down, you get paid back your 10% and it's backed by real estate. And I think that's a much more like cut and dry decision for people. It's not much upside, but there's not much downside. And so I think it attracts a certain type of person. And so when you're switching to equity, it's much more like, do they trust you to perform in this business? Because now hospitality, it is a business with underlying real estate.
Totally.
So I think it's a lot of like, do they trust you to be a good operator? And oh, wait, you've never done it before.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, I think that it was actually easier than I thought to raise the money because I think people fell in love with the vision.
But it was they're in love
And
with you.
and
They
me.
trust you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like a lot of your investors have done some stuff with you prior, in some of your other projects. And so the trust has already been built. You know, you have the brand, you got the following, you got the audience, you've took care of your investors in those past deals. And so all that compounds, all that trust, that scale compounds. And so that's cool though. And you're right, it is for the first hotel, it's always going to be the hardest to raise capital, but you had done it before, you have the audience, and I love that. So with this particular property, how are you guys operating it? Talk about the operations. You guys are self-managing, right?
We're
Okay.
self-managing. There's 2 general managers on site.
Okay.
So I
Two
think
GMs.
yeah, yeah,
Is it
Palms,
because they
they
split the
overlap,
shifts?
they split time,
Okay.
yeah. And so I think that what we found is that Palm Springs is a more luxury market. People expect you to hand them a drink and hand them a towel. And so we've heard from multiple hotel owners that it just doesn't work as well on a keyless entry model. And so we went, okay, if we want to provide the level of service that we want, there has to be a general manager basically on site all the time. So people are on site from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 2 general managers switch off on timing and they overlap on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we have 3 cleaners, 3 back end VAs, and then the 4 of us as general partners.
Okay.
So it's a pretty stacked team. We have 3
Yeah.
massage therapists as well.
Wow.
Like we have a lot of staff.
Sure.
And I think that that's what we learned from buying a small hotel is like your top line revenue is always going to be capped at something, but you're going to have all of these employees, and the same amount of employees could probably handle double the rooms. And so I think this hotel was sort of like, let's dip our toes into hospitality, make sure we like it, make sure we know how to run it. But now it's like, let's go bigger because the economies of scale are
Yeah.
100% there.
Now, one thing you guys can do though is you guys can go acquire another smaller boutique hotel in the Palm Springs area, and now you can use a lot of the same on-site staff to share and lower your overall blended payroll expense. Will you guys look to acquire another one in Palm Springs?
We've been looking and we talk about that a lot. Like, could you actually share? And I don't know if you actually can. Like, cleaners, yes. Massage therapists, yes. The back end VAs, yes. But your most expensive employees are your general managers. And unless they're kind of ferrying between two locations, you're kind of going to have to hire another bartender. Oh, we also have a bartender. So there's
Mm. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's like, I just don't know realistically. I thought the exact same thing. But when you really look at it, I think that the general managers being the biggest expense, it is actually really hard to share that responsibility. But there would be cost savings, such as like laundry, for example, that would become much more efficient. And as dumb as laundry sounds, it's one of the highest expenses of running a hotel.
Mm.
We're micro looking at
You
this
guys are
right
doing the
now.
laundry on site?
Half and half
Half and
because
half?
our laundry room is really small.
Got
We
it.
tried outsourcing it, but then it was a huge cost.
It is, yeah.
Thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm like, this is insane. We could hire a full-time person to do laundry and it would be cheaper. So now we're trying to figure out like there would be a lot of efficiency if we could just buy a bigger hotel. It has a laundry room on site and you share that cost between the two
Yeah.
hotels.
And one thing you can do for like hotels that are, 50 rooms and under is you can leverage like a lot of hotels will have like a front desk, typically to like 10 or 11, but really no need for a front desk overnight, and then someone will show up in the morning. But what you can do is you could leverage your front desk late at night when it gets slow, after 8 o'clock to do like a lot of the laundry. So you can kind of like, minimize that expense right there and leverage, your front desk to do some of it. But yeah, you just got to get creative. But I love that you guys jumped in, repositioned this property, and I love that it's got like all these like amenities. And you're exactly right. If you really want to drive a 5-star experience, especially in certain markets like Palm Springs, like you really need the on-site touch. You need that personal touch. You need someone that's charismatic that can be welcoming the guests, handing them a drink when they check in, helping them with any restaurant recommendations, all that sort of thing, and making sure that you're really driving those 5-star reviews.
If you look
That's
at the
everything.
reviews, they all mention our
Yeah,
staff.
yeah.
And it makes me a little bit scared for the day when they leave. But I mean, just because I think staff is the best thing about hospitality, it's also the most challenging thing about hospitality. It's, you're constantly dealing with HR issues and like keeping people happy and creating a great company culture. And it's very fulfilling, but also very challenging. And I think it is probably the hardest part about running a small staffed hotel.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and then the other thing with having staff is like you're always going to have walk-in traffic, and so when you have walk-in reservations, if you don't have on-site staff, it's really hard to capture that upside right there and that income. And so having a hotel to where there's a lot of walk-in traffic, then you definitely need some sort of on-site staff. We have just one hotel that we own up in Black Sands Inn. That's the 10 room. That's the only one that we operate remotely. Everything else has some sort of on-site staff, front desk personnel, housekeepers, and then the front desk is big. Having someone that's charismatic is going to be everything. I was actually hanging out at Hotels in Dell this weekend. I just popped in on Saturday night, and I was there on Sunday as well. But just talking to guests, helping them with recommendations, helping them with their bags, asking them, where we can improve and how their stay was, and just kind of listening to them is big. And then I was talking to the front desk personnel, the morning and the night shift, and just asking them how everything's going and asking them where we can improve and any ideas they had. And you learn a lot just by hanging out and asking questions.
Yeah. And I think that's huge because I mean, like you're there doing the work, visiting the property, asking questions, talking to guests. And I think in this world, there are a lot of people trying to elevate themselves out of that position by delegating literally everything. And what you're doing, I think, is better for the business in general. Like some things should not be, we started talking about this earlier, like delegate it out because it is your highest and best use.
Sure. I drove eight Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews in like
Wow.
2 hours that I was there. And because some of our properties, we've been doing like bonuses for like the on-site staff to where at the end of the month, based on how many Google reviews
We do
they
that
drove,
too.
we'll
Yeah.
bonus them out. And then the on-site staff can share it. The housekeepers, front desk, everyone can share it. In some of the hotels, they're like really driving the 5 stars, but at Zendel, they weren't. I'm like, damn, they went like 3 weeks without a Google review. So I'm like, all right, let me go over there and see what's going on. And like just me hanging out for 2 hours, I got 8 5-star reviews on Google. So I'm like, all right, guys, like if I was here for a whole week, how many could we
Yeah.
get?
You know
And
what we
so
did that
what
I think
what'd you
because
do?
we had the same issue where I was like, we have hundreds of guests staying and like not one Google review coming in. And I was like, this is so annoying because we're at 78 reviews. I check every day. And what we did was write an email that was our story as the founders.
Story's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a picture of us closing like in front of the hotel. And it was like, we're just a small business. This is all four of us. So excited to open our first hotel. It would mean the world to us if you left a review. And that day we got like 20 reviews. And
That's the
so
game. People
it's
love a good
amazing.
story, and you
I
got to tell the
know.
story. And that's exactly like what I did over there at the hotel. Is like, after I learned about the property, learned about how their stay was, helped them with everything, and then I was like, hey, like, what are the chances you could do me a huge favor right now? Like, we just bought this hotel not that long ago. It was literally a crack den, a one-star hotel, had bed bugs. We just did a really nice renovation,
Uh-huh.
and I'm really trying to turn around the reputation online and the Google
Well,
reviews.
that's a good, yeah.
It would mean the world to me if you could take 5 seconds and just drop a 5-star on Google and just talk about how your experience was, assuming that you were happy with your experience. And all of them are like, oh my gosh, like, we'd love to help you, because they hear the story and like, damn, like, they want to be part of it, you
So
know?
now we're implementing that into our automated follow-up
Yep.
sequence. And so first we send them a discount for them to return.
Mm-hmm.
And then 14 days later, we send them our personal story.
Mm.
So I think we're going to try that for a little bit, just until we get like 150 reviews on Google, just because it
Yeah.
means a lot.
Absolutely. Hey guys, if you're looking to get into real estate investing, but you're like, hey, I don't have the time, but you want to participate in the passive income, the tax benefits, and the wealth building, my company, Summers Capital, partners with limited partners, people like yourself, and we go out and buy boutique hotels. We have a fund where we currently own 5 hotels, and we currently have a wait list for investors to participate with us. If you want to learn more to see if this is a fit for you, you can go to summerscapital.com/invest to inquire and get on our wait list and be notified next time we have an opportunity. Again, summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. So telling the story, I think, is obviously huge. And you guys are obviously discovering that with your guests. Are you guys doing anything else to drive the 5-star reviews? Because obviously we have the OTAs, right? The OTAs do a good job of like, pinging the guests, and it's like, okay, you got the reviews on the OTAs, but the most valuable one, hands down, is Google. And so when I think about these properties, I'm like, man, Zendel, if I don't know anything about hotel operations, right? I don't need to, but I'm there for 2 hours. I'm driving 8 reviews. If I was there for an entire month, I mean, a week I could probably drive 30. That's 1,500 Google reviews over the course of a year. I'm like, how much more money could we make if we had 1,500 5-star reviews coming in every single year? It'd be
Yeah.
insane, you know?
Early on, we did hotel buyouts with people that we knew. And so that's a way to get 27 people in the door who are probably going to leave you 5-star reviews. And that was a combination of like, we had Blake Daly's hotel mastermind. We had a lender that I knew from back in the day host her corporate retreat there. Like, we had my friends all come over, my family come over. They had their family come over. And so I think just there was probably like 50 5-star reviews from people who actually experienced the space. Obviously, they're not fake reviews. But it was a way early on to get a lot of momentum, because I think I make my decisions on hotels based off of Google reviews too. And if there's none, or you have 1-star review and that's all you've got, like, that doesn't look good for people booking.
Totally, totally. Yeah, it's all reviews. And then as far as what the next deal looks like for you, what are you guys thinking there?
Bigger for sure. Definitely leaning into more of like the wellness hospitality vibe. But we were just talking about potentially starting a fund and going like really leaning into this like experiential. I know you had Isaac French on here, and he has a lot of experiential hospitality, but really into more
But
of
Isaac only did like one deal.
he did,
And
and it was a
and
great deal.
yeah, and now he's just doing podcast rounds. But
Yeah.
I'm like, how come you're not doing more deals,
What did
bro?
he say?
I didn't ask him that. No,
Oh.
I didn't ask him that. But I was curious.
I'm really watching a lot of companies to see what they're doing. So like one of the companies that I'm watching is called Athos. Have you heard
Okay.
of them?
No.
They're this premium wellness hotel brand that's like sweeping across Europe so fast. And I think people are asking about like, what is the future of wellness hospitality? What does that look like? What is it beyond just a cold plunge in a sauna? And they're really embracing more community. And so think about like Soho House, but for younger people, entrepreneurs, who are also into wellness and longevity, because everyone knows that part of longevity is relationships. And so I think when we think about like the future of wellness hospitality, it is probably in longevity. And that is a combination of mental health, physical health, and connections with other people. So they have a membership model where you can join the membership and you can go to their club in Ibiza or London or all of their like Mallorca. They have tons and tons of hotels that are opening up so fast. Six Senses is also following this model. I talked to their ex head of membership who lives in the Bay Area, and they're rolling out like a similar thing. They opened a longevity clinic in their Ibiza location and in their upcoming London
That's
location.
pretty cool.
It's a longevity bar where you get like these 1, 3, or 5 7-day programs, and you get hyperbaric oxygen, like you get a functional doctor to give you a consult. So I think that it's a really interesting space to watch right now. Like, I think it just crossed like $1 trillion of real estate dedicated to like global wellness hospitality. And it's only going to get bigger because the type of vacations people are wanting to take now, like just like you talk about how much better you feel when you're sober.
Yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh, game changer.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so people are not wanting to go on vacation and, I mean, go to Vegas and get drunk and wake up and forget what they did last night. They want to go somewhere where they ultimately come back feeling more centered, more present, more healthy. And I think that's the direction that we want to go. And kind of stacking all of my experience with building memberships. Like that is my background for the last 5 years is building community. So how do we stack community as a recurring revenue model into hotels as a secondary way to make money?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think big picture, just from a macro perspective, the boutique hotel game just makes a lot of sense. You think about, Airbnb regulations tightening in all these markets around the country right now. I mean, just here in San Diego, for example, they slashed the Airbnb supply from 17,000 listings to 5,500. We saw what happened in New York City, San Francisco. And as more markets, regulate, people are still going to travel. And the days of, the millennials and the Gen Zers, even more so, wanting to go stay at these same hotels that our parents once loved, the Hampton Inns, Ramada Inns, those days are over, right? Everyone wants to go and stay at these vibey, Instagrammable
Yeah.
experiences and these
Even
more
Four
boutiques.
Seasons, though, I feel like is the generation of people in their 50s or
Hmm.
60s,
Yes.
and now people are wanting to go to the Six Senses and, like, things that are much
And
more.
look at the restaurant game. Like right here, catty corner to our office is India Street, which is, 30 of the best coffee shops, most trendiest restaurants in all of San Diego is right here in the Little Italy neighborhood. And if you go down that street, like you can't find a reservation, you can't get in at the door on most nights. Like it's even on a Monday night, it's like these restaurants are packed. It's very hard to get in. And you will not find one chain restaurant. There's no franchise restaurants. There's no chains down here because people just don't want that stuff anymore. And so the way people want to travel is shifting. The way people want to dine is shifting. And so, if you just think 2 steps ahead, it's like, okay, well, who's going to benefit from this? Boutique hotel operators going to benefit from it. People that are, creating these unique stays, types of like very like cool experiences are going to benefit. And then, think about the scalability of how much easier it is to scale, 13 rooms under one roof versus, 13 single family properties or 13 Airbnbs with 13 different sets of housekeepers, 13 sets of guests checking in, checking out, 13 sets of repair and maintenance to keep up with and property taxes. It's like, no, you got 13 rooms under one roof. And you're picking up these hotels, 15, 20, 30, 40 rooms under one roof, one set of housekeeping, one set of guests checking in, checking out, one set of repair and maintenance. It's a lot easier to scale. And then you don't have all the neighbors to worry about. Because let's face it, in the Airbnb game, you can't control your neighbors. And most neighbors don't want to have an Airbnb as their direct neighbor next door. I get it. And so, in the hotel game, you don't have to worry about neighbors. And then talk about forced and appreciation, the way these things are valued. You can force a lot of appreciation because they're valued based on the income approach. And so the more you can increase the income, the more you can decrease the expenses, the more you can force your appreciation. You guys are doing it with your Palm Springs hotel. And so once you kind of look at the entire landscape and all the mom and pop sellers that are retiring right now, they're calling this the greatest transfer of wealth in American history, 40 million retiring baby boomers in the next 6 years. And you pair that with the tightening Airbnb regs, I'm like, it makes a lot of sense. And the last thing I'm going to say is this, Soli, because it's important for the listeners listening. When you look at all the Airbnb listings out there, I believe there's like 8 million Airbnb listings in the world right now. And you think about the next natural progression. If you can manage 2 Airbnbs, 3 Airbnbs, you are already lined up. You have the fundamentals to go and operate a small boutique hotel. And so when I go speak at these conferences, these Airbnb conferences, you do it as well. The boutique hotel panel is always the most popular. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's sexy.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
sexy. And like every other person I meet at these Airbnb short-term rental conferences is like, yo, Rich, I'm doing Airbnbs right now, but I cannot wait to do my first boutique hotel. And so I'm speculating. I don't know. Like when I got in the hotel game a few years ago, there was no content on it. There was no one talking about it. There was no books. And so I'm speculating, and I'm willing to put this out there. I believe in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, the boutique hotel game is going to be the next big thing.
I think it already
which
is.
is why we're going all in on it right now, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it already is. And I think the exciting part about boutique hotels is the mixture of real estate and business. Because if you really truly are obsessed with business and like increasing income from so many different creative ways with event buyouts and influencer marketing plays and giveaways with ads, like there's so many things that you can do to increase value that you can't necessarily do for a single Airbnb or a regular single family property with long-term
Yep.
tenants.
And now, like you said, 4.8 billion people use social media. You can create your own ecosystem. You can create your own media. And by the way, it's free to post on social media, guys. And so this game is all about adapting to technology. Think about all these mom and pop owners that are kind of washing out of the industry, selling their hotels. They did not adapt to the technology. They didn't adapt to social media. They're not using AI. And so you come in, you implement some AI, you implement the right tech, implement a good social media strategy, and you can really create your own ecosystem and create, an ecosystem or property to where you're driving your own ADRs and your own marketplace. And I think that's where the game's at.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I love it. Soli, I know you just exited your media company, your education company, not exit, but
Merged.
you merged it.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the
Thank you.
way. What was the thought that went behind all that?
Really, it was wanting to partner with someone who could take it on the next level. And so with more resources, more connections, more of a platform, more ways for members to grow. And so the person who I merged companies with has an more of like an intermediate advanced education company, which is like the perfect next step for people within my community who are learning how to buy residential real estate. And so that was the thought behind it. I think it's going to be a really fun partnership to have, and it's going to lead to more opportunities for all the members from both directions.
I love it. I love it. Soli, I appreciate you coming on, dropping so much game. Where can the folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you and learn more about your Palm Springs hotel?
So Instagram is the best place. It's
Okay.
Lattes and Lisa's. I
Ooh,
gotta change my name
I
soon.
like the name.
Do
You gotta
you?
keep rolling with it. Lattes and Lisas. Let's go. I love
I've
it.
been trying to change it,
Yeah,
but I feel like that's my personality now. Everyone knows me by it. And then our Instagram for the hotel is at Terra Palm Springs on TikTok as well.
I love it. She's Soli, Lattes and Lisas. Cayetano, I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.